Who's the best team in the AFC North, Dan? Because the Ravens had a heck of a draft.
Yeah, the Ravens, Molly. I mean, number one, the Ravens are going to be one of the best teams in the conference, just getting their own players healthy. If we look at the addition of Ronnie Stanley coming back healthy at left tackle, J.K. Dobbins at tailback, and then obviously Lamar Jackson getting healthy post last year. And then defensively, they could have one of the best secondaries in football if Marcus Peters comes back. Now they draft Kyle Hamilton out of Notre Dame. They had signed Marcus Williams from the New Orleans Saints. So just the addition of getting their own guys back is a big boost to their football team. And then their draft, they also got a defensive tackle out of UConn that, Molly, you and I both know is probably going to be the best pick that they made throughout the whole draft. Travis Jones out of Bridgeport, Connecticut. But a phenomenal draft for the Ravens. You know, I'll say this. I love the Bengals. I was relatively bullish on the Bengals last year. They got hot at the right time. The Ravens were 8-3. They were the number one seed in the AFC. Then Lamar Jackson got hurt, and they lost their final 6 games. If they stay healthy finally, I love the Hollywood Brown trade. This is a huge, a brutal division. Ravens are the best team.
You feel that way, huh? What happened when the Baltimore Ravens went up against the Bengals last year? I believe they lost twice.
Ravens beat them up at home.
I don't know. I'm looking at it right here. Sunday, October 24th, they beat the Ravens 41-17.
Yep.
Okay, and then they played them again, and they beat them 41-21. So they shellacked them in both games. That's number one. Number two, who was in the Super Bowl last year? That would be the Cincinnati Bengals. Number three, are you telling me that Lamar Jackson is better than Joe Burrow? I don't think so. I'm not sure about that. I know he's an electrifying athlete running the football, but in terms of throwing that football, that would happen to be Joe Burrow. Did Jamar Chase go anywhere? Did T. Higgins go anywhere? Did Tyler Boyd go anywhere? Did Joe Mixon go anywhere? I'm looking at the Cincinnati Bengals right now, bro, and I respect the Baltimore Ravens. Yeah. I get all of that, and I understand. And I don't want to hear anything from Lamar Jackson about what the hell as it pertains to Hollywood Brown going to Arizona. The fact is, Hollywood Brown is supposed to be your boy. You didn't know he told the Ravens at the end of the season he wanted out, that he wanted to go somewhere else? Evidently, y'all friendship ain't getting away of business as far as he's concerned, because he told the Ravens, according to reports, that he wanted out. So when I look at the Ravens and I look at the fact that, again, they might have some receivers, but in the end, what did you really do to improve in that regard in terms of getting him the requisite weapons that he needs in order to be effective as an offensive force for the Baltimore Ravens, as opposed to carrying the whole load himself? I do agree with you with some of the changes that they made. I think they'll be better defensively. But I'm looking at the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not sleeping on these brothers. They buffered the offensive line. Yeah. They're going to protect Joe Burrow. So that means the 4,000-plus yards he threw for this past season, the 34 touchdowns he threw for this past season, the fact that he's fresh off of getting to the Super Bowl. I'm not underestimating the Cincinnati Bengals. I got to give respect where respect is due. And that's a hell of a lot coming from me, who lamented their state of affairs for all of those years Marvin Lewis was coaching them. Yeah. I got to give respect where respect is due.
Stephen A., answer some of your questions. No, I don't. There's not a young quarterback I would take in the NFL over Joe Burrow. I've been on that for 3 years now. So, no, I don't think Lamar Jackson is better. The Bengals, I believe, last year were 9-8. Okay, so a good football team in the regular season that got hot at the end of the season. And then, candidly, they went on their Super Bowl run because of the defense, not strictly or on the backs of their offense. I understand that they are a better football team. When both of those teams played last year, we have to remember, the Ravens went into the season last year decimated by injury to begin with. That's why we were raving about what they and Lamar were doing. And that's why Lamar, 10, 12 weeks into the season, was the MVP of the league. So it's tough to say those 2 games that happened last year are good measuring sticks because of the injuries that the Ravens went into from training camp into the season. They're both going to be really good. I think because of the additions of their own players, Ravens are better.
Well, first of all, they went 10-7 during the regular season. They were 10-6 going into that last week against the Cleveland Browns. They had already clinched the division, so you could call that a throwaway game. And then they went to the playoffs and did what they did. That's number one. Number two, you told me the number one priority should be protecting Joe Burrow. That's what you said. Well, that's what they went out and did. I mean, this brother Joe Burrow was sacked 51 times last year. 51. Right. So they went out and they buffered the offensive line. And so I'm looking at it from that perspective. Why should I expect better? Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.